Hello students, in this session we'll be studying about last few topics from module 1. Right, let us discuss about requirements validation. Requirements validation is concerned with demonstrating that the requirements define the system that the customer really wants. Right, whatever is requested by the customer, if you are building it, then only a customer is going to buy the particular product. Right, so requirements validation is very important phase. Requirements error cost are high, so validation is very important. What happens is if we don't go for requirements validation and if we develop a particular application and if we give it to the customer and customer is not willing to buy, then we have to make the modification. Then what is the cost involved in modifying the things will be much large if we don't go for requirements validation. That is, fixing a requirements error after delivery may cost up to 100 times the cost of fixing an implementation error. Right, so for that reason we have to go for requirements validation. Next is about requirements checking. First we check is the validity. That is, does the system provides the function which best support the customer needs. Whatever is requested by the customer, that we have to build and we have to give it to the customer. Right, so that is the first checking we'll be having in requirements checking. Then what we do is we go for consistency checking. Are there any requirements conflicts? Right, since multiple stakeholders will give their consent, they'll be having a discussion and they'll be giving the requirements. Right, while these requirements have been collected, there might be conflict from the various stakeholders. Right, the person who is going to buy, he'll be telling the application should be of less price, and the end user who is actually working on the particular application, his requirement will be there should whatever the application that is being developed, it should be ease of use. Easily he should be able to use the software. If we see these two things, they are conflicting. Right, if a particular application should be of good quality, then more amount has to be paid. But the customer who is buying that, the person who is willing to pay amount and he is going to buy, he'll be telling he requires an application for less amount. So that's a conflict that should not be there, that we are going to check. Then the third thing is completeness. Are all functions required by the customer included? Customer will be giving multiple requirements, and now we have to check whether all the requirements have been taken into consideration or not. So that is regarding the completeness. Next one is about realism. In realism, what we are checking is, can the requirements be implemented given available budget and technology? Customer will be giving lot of requirements, but the thing is everything is not in a condition to build the application. That is, if he is allocating a less budget, in less budget, if he is requesting a very high configuration application, then it is not possible for building such kind of application. Right, and apart from that, whatever requirement is being given by the particular customer, if we don't have the technology for building the application, then we cannot develop the project. So these are the things that is being checked over here, that is known as realism check. And last one is verifiability check. That is, can the requirements be checked? For example, if the customer is selling whatever the application that is being developed, it should be having good look and feel. Good means what sense? What makes an application good? If we have that particular uh, thing that can be verified, then only we can argue with the customer that it is according to your demand. Requirements validation techniques. There are various requirements validation technique. In that, first one is requirements reviews. Requirement review is nothing but systematic manual analysis of the requirements. Here we will be having a team of uh, people who are going to look at the particular requirement document that has been written. Okay, and then they are going to analyze that requirement, and based on that requirement document, they can go for either changing the things or adding the things or deleting some of the requirement that is written in a requirement document. So that is a requirement reviews. Next one is about prototyping. Using an executable model of the system to check the requirements. While the requirements have been collected by the customer, then what we can do is we can have a prototype of what kind of application it will be looking when we have fully developed the application. Right, so that is, using the prototype for demonstration purpose over here. And next one is about test case generation. When we collect the requirement and when we build the application and when we are delivering it to the customer, before delivering we have to check it, right? For that reason we require the test cases. So what we are doing is, during the initial phase only, while the application is being developed, we are coming up with requirements, test case generation. Right here, what we do is we are generating the test cases. If this requirement is taken into consideration, how it will be tested at the end. Now, when we are going up with this test case generation, in that we can come to know how complex the application will be. Because if we are not able to generate this test cases very easily, that means whatever the requirement we have collected, that for implementation of the particular requirement, it takes much time over there. So that is regarding the test case generation. Let us have a glance at requirements reviews. How the review will be done. Regular review should be held while the requirement definition is being formulated. When a requirement is being collected from the various stakeholders, regular review process should be carried out. Both client and contractor staff should be involved in the reviews. Okay, in the review, who all will be involved is from the client side and as well as from the contractor side. Some staff are being allocated for this particular review phase. Then reviews may be formal with completed documents, or it might be informal. Formal means everything will be documented. We are going to maintain the paperwork over there, what kind of application we are going to develop, what are the requirements, everything is being uh, documented over there, or it might be just informal discussion. Good communications between the developers, customers, and users can resolve problems at an early stage, because there will be a lot of stakeholders, and stakeholders will be giving their own reviews when they have gone through this review phase. So what's going to happen is there might be various conflicts that has to be resolved in the earlier stages only. Review checks. What we have over here is verifiability. Is the requirement realistically testable? Whether we can really test the requirement what is being collected. So that is what we are checking. Then we are checking comprehensibility. That is the requirement properly understood? Because when we collect the requirement, the requirement will be given in a domain format, right? That is according to their domain they'll be giving the things. If it is a banking software, then they'll be taking telling regarding like some people will be coming, depositing, withdrawing, transferring amount. So this should be done. If it is related to some IRCTC booking or something, then they'll be telling there will be some staff member who are going to maintain the database. There will be some person who is issuing the tickets. So in that particular domain only requirement is being collected. So that will be a problem. That is the requirement properly understood? Then next one is traceability. Is the origin of the requirements clearly stated? Okay, for what reason this requirement is raised? Who has raised? What is the reason behind this? Everything has to be collected properly. Next thing is about the adaptability. That is, can the requirements be changed without a large impact on other requirements? Whenever we are changing a particular requirement, what's going to happen is if there is a communication between the other requirement, then that requirement has to be changed, or else there will be a problem in the future. So we have to understand which are the requirements which are interconnected with each other. So that is regarding the adaptability. Next topic is about requirements management. That is, when we collect the requirement, what's going to happen is after a few days, again the customer will be coming up with modified requirement. Okay, so how it will be done, everything we are going to study in this topic. Requirement management is the process of managing the changing requirements during the requirements engineering process and system development. Okay, the requirement change will arise in two instances. Either when we are collecting the requirements, after a few time again the requirement might be changed, or else the second thing is when the system is being developed, again the customer might be coming up with requirement change. New requirements emerge as system is being developed and after it has gone into use. So we know there are various scenarios where a customer is coming up with new requirements. Either it is during the development phase, or else after we have developed a particular application and given to the customer, then he might be coming up with change to the application. You need to keep track of individual requirements and maintain links between dependent requirements so that you can access the impact of requirement change. Right? You have to note down like which are the requirements which are having link with each other, because when some customer is coming up with, okay, you change the particular requirement, then you can say that if I have to change this requirement, it is dependent on multiple factors and these all things have to be changed. Then you can say that the amount that is required for uh, changing this requirement is much more higher. Either if he is agreeing, then we can go for building the application, or else you can stop there itself, right? You need to establish a formal process of making change proposals and linking this to the system requirements. Changing requirements. Why the requirements are being changed, right? Why the customer will be coming up with you change this, that, and all. The first thing is the business and technical environment of the system always changes after installation. Once application is developed and it has been handed over to the customer will start working on that. And but what happens is, if there is any problem with the hardware on which this application was running, then if they come up with new hardware, if they install new hardware, then that might not be supported by your application, then it has to be changed, right? Or else business priorities may change. If the way in which business is carried out, if it is changed, again the customer will be coming up with new requirements. Or if there is any new legislation and regulations changed by the governing authority from the government, then again the application has to be changed, right? Because they have to abide by the rules and regulations of the particular country. So these are the various reasons behind the changing requirements. This is regarding one point. Then the other reason behind the changing requirement is the people who pay for the system and the users of the system are rarely the same, right? uh, the owner of a application, that is who is going to buy application, what is his intention, it should be within a particular budget. But the end users who are actually working on the particular application, who actually use that, what they feel is, if we have been provided with all the demands, whatever the requirement they had given, if everything is included, then only they are going to use it. So this is a conflict between the buyer and the end user. So because of this, again the changing requirement takes place. System customers impose requirements because of organizational and budgetary constraints. Then this may conflict with end user requirements, and after delivery, new features may have to be added for user support if the system is to meet its goals. Because if the customer is buying a particular application and end user is using it, then end user feels that, okay, I had given so many requirements but everything is not taken into consideration, so I will stop using this application. He will not use that application, he'll be going for some other methods of doing the business. So this will be a problem. Then what happens is, then the buyer of the application, he'll be telling, okay, we will go for adding the things whatever you had requested, we will add it for the particular system. Then the end user will be happy and he'll be using that particular application. Large, then another reason for changing requirement is, large system usually have a diverse user community with many users having different requirements and priorities that may be conflicting or contradictory, right? If there are large number of stakeholders involved in a particular application that is being developed, then everyone will be having their own views on the application that is being developed. The final system requirements are inevitably a compromise between them, right? Many will be having conflict with each other, many requirements will be having conflict with each other, and at the end whatever the system we are getting is, it's a compromise system. And with experience, it is often discovered that the balance of support given to the different users has to be changed, right? When we have given the first version of the application, some will be feeling good and some will be sad because their views have not been taken into consideration. Then when you go for changing, okay, then other part of people are going to be satisfied, and there might be some people who are not satisfied with this application. So this is a continuous process. Requirements evolution, right? How the evaluation of the requirement is being taken place is, initially we will try to understand the problem. Then based on this initial assumption, we will collect the requirements and we will build the application. And once the application is being built and it has been handed over to the customer, and customer again he'll be coming with change requirement, because now he will feel that okay, everything is working okay, but if this could be added, it will be a good application. Again, change understanding of problem, then requirements are going to be changed again. Then this is a lifetime process of a application. Requirements management planning establishes the level of requirements management detail that is required over here. Now we will see what are the things that are being carried out in requirements management planning. First one is requirements identification. That is very important. Identifying the various requirements. Each requirement must be uniquely identified so that it can be cross-referenced with other requirements. As I have already stated, when we are collecting the requirement, after we have collected the requirement, we have to look for whether there is a connection between the other requirement as well. Right? So that is important. Then a change management process. We'll be seeing this in detail in the next slide. Okay, this is a set of activities that assess the impact and the cost of change. That is, if you are changing something, what is the impact, whether we have to proceed or whether we have to halt. Okay, that we are seeing in the next slide in detail. The third one is about the traceability policies. These policies define the relationships between each requirement and between the requirements and the system design that should be recorded. And that is, we are going to trace out whether there is a relationship between the various requirements, because when we are changing something, that another set of requirements have to be changed. And the last one is about the tool support. Tools that may be used range from specialist requirements management system to spreadsheets and simple database system. For managing this requirement, we might be having a lot of tools. Okay, that tools might be from a specific tools which are used for the requirement management system, or it might be a simple database systems as well. Now we'll be seeing whether whatever the requirement that is said, whatever the change in the requirement that is set by the customer, whether we have to accept it or whether we have to reject it. It is based on these three things. First one is about problem analysis and change specification. During this stage, what is going to happen is the problem or the change proposal is analyzed to check that it is valid. Customer will be coming up with change requirement. Now the developer has to, there will be some person who is in charge for checking whether this request for the particular app, for the particular requirement change has to be processed or it has to be rejected. This analysis is fed back to the change requester, who may respond with a more specific requirements change proposal or decide to withdraw the request. That is, once a requirement change has been collected, then it will be analyzed, then we will be having some format, okay, some documentation will be done, then that documentation will be given to the person who has requested for the particular change in the requirement. Then he will be seeing that report, and based on the report he is going to decide whether we have to proceed further in changing the requirement, or he might decide to withdraw the request. It depends on the person who has requested for the change in the requirement. Next one is about change analysis and costing. The effect of proposed changes assessed using traceability information and general knowledge of the system requirement. If you have already worked on the similar kind of applications, then you might tell the user or the customer who has come up with the requirement change, okay, if I have to change this will be the time frame required, and this will be the budget that is required for changing this requirement. If he is agreeing for that, then we can proceed. Right. Once this analysis is completed, a decision is made whether or not to proceed with the requirements change. And the last thing is about change implementation. That is how the change will be done. The requirement document and wherever necessary, system design and implementation are modified. When we have uh, come to a conclusion, okay, this requirement has to be changed, then in the initial we had written a requirement document, right? SRS, system requirement specification document. There we have to go and we have to make the modification. And if we assume that we had this document and we proceeded with the implementation part or the designing part, then the design as well as the implementation has to be reworked, right? That has to be modified again. The design and the um, implementation has to be modified. Ideally the document should be organized so that changes can be easily implemented. When we are writing some document, how it should be written is, it should be written in such a way that the changes should be easily done to the document and for the software. So this is the change management process. First you are going to identify the problem, then problem analysis and change specification is being done. Then you go for change analysis, that is if we go for changing things, how much amount is required or the time is required. uh, this is the thing that you are going to decide. Then change implementation, how we are going to change, what document you are going to change, that is being taken care over here. And at the last we'll be having the revised requirements. Thank you. This completes your first module.